Hello, I am the Gentlemanly Gamer, and welcome to the Undisputed Nerds YouTube channel. You're about to watch a clip from our podcast, which we do every week, and you can find on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all of your other favourite podcast platforms. Don't forget to leave us a like and a subscribe on the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and we hope you enjoy the clip. Right, well, we're into tips and bits, aren't we, Zany baby?
Oh yes, it's time for
bits, tips and bits. Come on, everybody, it's tips and bits. There you go.
There you go.
Okay. All right. So this week, this tips and bits for those of you who are not aware, new to the area where this is now on. This week we have a look at some of the headlines, not all of the headlines, just some of them from the news this week, and we have a little bit of a discussion around them. I normally segment it into three groups. Zany baby, you've got Marvel, you've got very some DC, and very some miscellaneous this week. There's a lot of Marvel news, so which should we get first?
Should we get the Marvel out of the way?
We probably should. Yeah. Okay. Right. So we'll start off with. I'm going to end with one of the bits of information that I'm the most excited about. So we'll flip this around and do that. So yeah, SpiderMan news. A couple of bits of pieces of information to come out of Spider-Man news this week. Slightly worrying. There is a report from the website The Ankler, and it's revealed that while plans are in motion for another Spider trilogy starring Tom Holland, they don't believe he's actually signed a deal yet. So those plans are unofficial.
Oh.
Now, Rothman and Co. apparently are reporting that he is still Spider-Man, which is the basically the insurance company that covers actors and stuff, as well as putting him down as part of the Uncharted franchise, which he's now part of. However, they haven't locked him down for a Spider-Man movie yet. Do we believe that this is an indication that maybe he won't be coming back, or is this just a matter of time before they lock him into a deal? What do you think, Zany baby?
Oh man. It's weird because whilst doing the press tour for No Way Home, he did mention on a few occasions like how he just wants a break from acting, and maybe he might be a bit too old to keep doing Spider-Man and stuff.
Yeah,
so
which was annoying because I always he's getting into the period of Spider-Man's life where it's some of the most interesting stuff. It's
absolutely,
really annoying.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, Tom Holland, you're not done yet. Yeah. Did I send you that? I can't remember if I sent you that video where he did it again and he leaked that Andrew Garfield is in No Way Home. Did I send that to you?
Was that the Radio 1 interview?
Yes. So basically, one of the interviews is talking to Andrew Garfield and saying, "I knew that you were going to be in No Way Home, by the way," and he was like, "No, you didn't. There's no way that you knew. There's no possible way." And he was like, "Yeah, you know that Tom Holland guy." And he was like, "Yeah." And it's like, he's terrible at lying. And then watch this. And then they were talking about the scene in one of the press junkets for the film's release. And there's like a scene of Zendaya in the trailer falling off the scaffolding. Yeah. And Tom Holland goes, yeah, that scene was amazing. I mean, it was like it looked like an absolute nightmare to shoot. I mean, I wasn't there, obviously, but and then he's like. And the interview is just like, you can see the exact moment that his soul leaves his body. It's like,
yeah, I have seen that. I think that's with Ali Plum from
I think it might be.
Radio
Yes.
1. Yeah, it's really good.
It's fantastic.
And then Andrew Garfield is in stitches because he's like,
he's laughing so hard. Yeah, he's the worst. He's the worst at keeping secrets. I just love it though. I mean, I wasn't there for it. Anyway, yes. So speaking of Spider-Man, Zane, moving on to the next bit of news. We all know that the Spumker Spider-Man, it's the Spider-Man cinematic universe. Sony Pictures. Oh God, what is it? I can't remember what the U stands for. Sony Pictures something Marvel. I can't remember. It's basically the Spider-Man. It's what they're calling. They've abbreviated the Spider-Man. Oh, that was it. Spider-Man Cinematic Universe. That's what it is. It's called Spumker. Yes. But obviously, it's had the fabulous first couple of movies released to it, which were Venom's 1 and 2, and then obviously the award-winning Morbius. Give it time. Give it time. It's going to get there. It's Morbin time. Well, obviously Sony seem to have become slightly overconfident due to No Way Home, and then the release of Morbius has not quite hit home. According to the same site that provided the information about Tom Holland not signing on, they've also come out with this quote itself. Marvel's Kevin Feige does weigh in and offer notes on Sony's Marvel movies that don't feature Spider-Man. One insider credits Feige for guiding Sony's approach and warning the studio not to get too ahead of itself in terms of building some larger universe in the vein of the Avengers movie.
Oh, no.
Effectively, Kevin Feige has warned them not to do stuff without Spider-Man because it's not going to work. And obviously, they've definitely listened to that because, you know, Venom 3, Kraven the Hunter, Madam Web, and El Muerto are on the way. Zane, a quick question for you based on the morbing excellence of Morbius. Do you think that they probably should listen to Kevin Feige and maybe scale back a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen from the Sony leaks, but some of his notes for Amazing Spider-Man 2 were included in those leaks. And, like, they were spot on. Like, he said this. I remember one quote being, "This feels very busy."
Yes. yeah.
Don't set up more villains. And then it's like, I don't think you need the Green Goblin stuff. So yeah, I can imagine his notes are very on point. And let's not forget, like, he's taken the time out of his day to watch Morbius, which has nothing to do with his projections.
I suppose technically it had spoilers, guys, for Morbius. It had Vulture in it, so I guess that does have some MCU linking.
Yeah,
tenuously at best. I'm a family man. I'm the Vulture. Oh, I've popped into a new reality and I'm fine now. Hey, it's so stupid. Yeah, I don't.
Just to go on a quick tangent, I watched Cinema Sins cover Morbius, and one thing that absolutely had me laughing out my chair is how the doctor who looks after Jared Leto's character and Matt Smith's character as young boys, the doctor.
Yeah.
On his desk, he has a stuffed bird, and they just point out, they're like, "This bird doesn't move. Why would you have a stuffed bird on your desk?" Like, it's just this random tangent about this stuffed bird, and it just has me giggles.
Perhaps he's a huge fan of ornithology. Who knows? But yes, possibly. There we go. Jesus Christ, honestly, Morbius is just the gift that keeps on giving. It really
just keeps on giving.
Anyway, moving on. So this is exciting news. Well, it depends. It depends if you're a fan of that film. But Captain America 4. There's been a little bit of radio silence as far as the plans for Captain America 4. However, the project has finally found a director. So Nigerian-American filmmaker Julius Onar, best known for helming The Cloverfield Paradox, has been tapped to direct the 4th installment. So, Cloverfield Paradox, widely regarded as the worst Cloverfield movie. It wasn't great, I'm going to be honest with you. Lots of worms. But yeah, I mean, I guess it had some potential. There are some potential plot details where there's a rumor going around that apparently, this one's interesting. Red Skull's biological daughter, Cynthia Schmidt, aka Sin, is being lined up as the main villain for it. So Sin first appeared in Fear Itself. It's in the comics, that is. Interesting to see that happen. I would like that, to be honest with you, because it's a nice link back to the original Captain America if they do that. I think Onar's famous for doing a lot of short films prior to the Cloverfield Paradox, and so that's why he's basically been and then he did I can never remember what the name of it is. He did the Cloverfield Paradox, and then he did another film which was called Lucy, I think. I can never. It's either Luke. It's Luce, So it's either Lucy or Luca. I can never say it, but that was really good, like really well received and really good. So he's got the chops for it. Plus, when you get into a Marvel situation, we've spoken about this before, there is a certain like streamline to it where it's like you have to hit certain beats. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on this guy helming it and possibly Sin being the villain in it?
The villain thing surprises me. Yeah, more than anything, because I guess we are at a stage like who would be the best sort of villains to go up against a Captain America type.
Yes.
And we haven't had like a Hydra thing since Winter Soldier, I guess. So
yeah. No, not a proper Hydra thing.
Yeah. And then the director and such. So I don't know if you've heard this before, but I listened to a few interviews with the director of the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV series.
Yes.
And he said Marvel have these like producers and they have like these people that kind of watch every sort of decision you make, and they'll constantly like question why you're making that decision, and they'll be like, no, you have to stick to this. And like it's almost like these advisors. It sounds really weird, and I wonder if that's why like Edgar Wright left Ant-Man, because like apparently they can be quite like, no, you're going to do this, just to keep it on the straight and narrow sort of thing.
I don't know what the Edgar Wright situation was. I know that he was not happy with the idea of being so micromanaged. I think that's what's come out since. And you know, it is a tough thing. I don't know, because they've kind of let the reins off to a certain degree, where they do like, maybe we'll talk about that in the Love and Thunder review, but they do like directors to seemingly put their stamp on things now. But I don't know, maybe they're more protective of things that aren't necessarily guaranteed, or maybe they're less protective of things that they don't know if it's going to be successful. Because if you look at Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was guaranteed, like it was going to make money. It was literally with WandaVision set up, and the fact that she was in it, and the fact that it was exploring the
Sam
multiverse.
Raimi's name.
It was
attached.
that's my point. It was a license to print money, and then you put Sam Raimi on the ticket as well, and it's like, yeah, just do what you want, Sam. There's no worries. Whereas Thor Ragnarok, for example, Thor was dead and buried basically with the films because Dark World did not perform well, and critically or commercially, I don't think. And so they were just like, "Oh yeah, do what you want with it, Taika. Like we don't really care, you know. As long as you introduce these beats, and you can even use Hulk if you want. We just don't care, you know. That could be the way it was, and I don't know. Yeah. It's an interesting thing. Is it the homogenization and murdering of creativity in the cinematic universe? Well, if you're Martin Scorsese, then you say so, yay. But I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, I like them. Anyway, let us know, guys. Let us know what you think about Marvel monopolizing and destroying Hollywood as we know it. All right, here's where we get onto the seriously exciting stuff, my friend.
Okay.
After a number of persistent rumors recently, THR has confirmed that both Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio will return as Daredevil and the Kingpin, respectively, for the currently shooting Disney Plus Echo series.
Yes, let's go.
We still don't know how these bitter enemies will be reintroduced in the MCU, but sources say Echo will include a plot line in which Daredevil, whose alter ego is blind attorney Matt Murdock, is searching out a former ally. This would appear to confirm a recent rumor that the Man Without Fear will be looking for Jessica Jones, which may well open the door to the likes of Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and the Punisher following suit down the road. It's probably easier to predict what Fisk's role will be, as he's been in the Hawkeye series. I think it's safe to say that this is probably what the Echo series needed to be a must-watch Marvel show now, because whilst I did enjoy her appearance in Hawkeye, and her introduction I thought was really good, there wasn't really anything that I was kind of like, okay, I mean, I'll give the character a chance, but like I wasn't like, now I'm like, I have to watch this on pain of death. What are your thoughts on the thing happening that we've all been hoping would happen?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, like you said, with Hawkeye, it felt like her sort of small subplot was full circle in that show anyway. Like finding out that Kingpin taken out her father, and then she potentially shot Kingpin.
Yes.
It felt kind of, full circle. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they go with the TV show and such. I guess the big question at the moment is, will they acknowledge the history of the Netflix series, or is this a variant? Like, is that going to be seen as now a multiverse that we saw?
No, I don't think so. I think this is... if that had been the case in terms of kind of variants and that kind of thing, are you saying that you think that this version might be a variant instead of the ones that we've seen already?
Depending on how you look at it, like maybe either do they... I guess what I'm trying to say is, would they acknowledge the history of the Netflix show? So is this the same Matt Murdock from the Netflix show?
No.
Or is the Netflix universe its own multiverse
variation
going forward?
Yeah, it's they've... I think, I can't remember what the article was, but I remember reading a while. They've confirmed that the Netflix multiverse, it's a variant multiverse. Basically, it's not like it after the events of the Chitauri invasion, it splits. Something changes, and it splits off into its own Netflix reality. And the Daredevil, the Daredevil and Kingpin that we see in the MCU now, so the ones that are in SpiderMan and the ones that are in Hawkeye, are not the same. They're not the same versions of the Netflix shows. It's not the same. So the only thing I'm slightly frustrated by with Marvel is the fact that they're doing... It's the inconsistency of their variants. And it's like, well, either make them all the same or make them all different. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, do you know what I mean, though? We've had 3 different Spider-Men, and now we've got the same Daredevil, we've got the same Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. Just make sure we have the same Reed Richards, and I'll be happy.
I guess they try to get the concept out there with Loki. Like, yes, you'll see like a Loki that looks exactly like Tom Hiddleston, but there's others that might look like Richard E. Grant. Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, that's the same Loki. It's just that no, they're saying that's old Tom Hiddleston.
That's old Loki, yeah.
You're saying a crocodile that looks like Loki, like a Loki that is a crocodile. That would be a better... Yeah, okay. Yeah. Or Sylvie, who's basically a girl, a girl version of Loki. So
yeah, there you go.
Fair enough. So yes, anyway, exciting. You're excited for that, right? You're hyped
for
that.
Yeah, absolutely, cool.
Yeah. All right, this one. So this is the last bit of Marvel news, and this is genuinely really exciting to me. This is really, really exciting. The New York Times has been speaking to Taron Egerton. Because he's got a new Apple TV drama series called Blackbird, which is coming out.
Yeah.
Egerton was once again asked about the chances of him being Logan. Are you ready for this, Zane?
Yeah.
He's revealed that he's met with Marvel about it.
Oh, wow.
He revealed that he's met with Marvel studio execs, including Kevin Feige, about potentially signing on to play the character. Direct quote from Egerton: "I don't think it would be wrong to say that." The Welsh actor responded when asked if he had any official discussions about taking the part. "I'd be excited, but I'd be apprehensive as well, because Hugh is so associated with the role that I'd wonder if it would be very difficult for someone else to do it. Hopefully, if it does come around, they'll give me a shot."
Okay.
So it sounds like Egerton might have actually talked to Feige and reached out to him himself to see if he could actually do it. I said it a while back that I really want him to play Wolverine. I think he'd be great. And you were like, it's fan casting. It's never going to happen. I mean, Reed Richards happened. So and he's very young enough to do it for a while. So what are your thoughts on that, buddy? Excited possibly about seeing him?
Possibly, yeah. I don't think I've heard him do an American accent before.
Really?
Yeah, thinking about it, because I only know him from the Kingsman franchise. Like, I don't think I've really seen him in anything else. I know he's done...
I've definitely seen him do it. Wait, have I? What is he? Hang on, what's he been in that I've seen him do? Hang on.
I've
keep
seen
talking.
him as Eddie the Eagle, which is another British
Yeah, and Elton
character.
John.
And then Elton John, yeah.
Hold on. He must be able to do it in America. I mean, like, you know, I would.
Yeah.
I would imagine. Oh wow, that's weird. He's Constantine in a Sandman series, but it's a podcast series.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna have to listen to that. Rocket Man, Watership Down, Robin Hood. I think he was English in that.
Oh yes, yeah.
He's the voice of Johnny in the film Sing. I think that's American. Look, regardless, all right. He's not going to be American. He's not going to be English as Wolverine. All right, it'll be fine.
No.
I'm sure he's got enough voice coaches that could teach him the proper growl. But yeah, okay. Voice aside, are you happy for this?
I'd say I'm so about it. Like, yeah, it'd be great to see a young Wolverine. And he's a short, stocky guy, which kind of ticks a lot of boxes. So
he's a little stocky box, isn't he? Oh, get a stocky box and stick some knives in the side of it. You got the perfect Wolverine. Oh yes, look at him go.
As you rightly pointed out, like Marvel's currently working off like the hype train at the moment, like fan casting, just cool moments and stuff. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
That's why I've grown the beard out and I've got my hair like this, because I'm actually going to be Wolverine. That's what I'm going for right now.
Congratulations.
I don't know if you knew that, Zane.
Yeah.
See?
It's tough shoes to follow.
Listen, if there's any man handsome enough to do it, right here, baby. Right, now that my delusions of grandeur are over, that is the end of the Marvel news. So you got DC or you got Misk. What do you fancy?
Hit me with DC. What's going on?
you know what's going on. I'm always going to talk about one thing, but anyway, let's. This I wanted to bring up with you because I thought it was important to note that it's kind of coming back a bit. San Diego Comic-Con, the Hall H presentation has been confirmed. It will be Black Adam, featured heavily with new promos for the upcoming movie. You and I have mentioned, you mentioned, I think, a couple of weeks ago on the show that San Diego Comic-Con was turning into a bit of a resurgence. It seems to be coming back after the pandemic and all the people kind of splintering away to do their own, fandom and Disney Investor Day, blah 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 blah. But yeah, it looks like some of the big hitters are coming back. Black Adam is certainly a big hitter coming up soon. What are your thoughts on Black Adam being one of the mainstays at San Diego Comic-Con? And are you excited to see it coming back to kind of, I guess, the mecca for nerd that it was before?
Yeah, it sounds great. Like it's having this sort of, as you say, new light lit underneath it. As you mentioned before, I think Kevin Feige is going to be there to kind of talk about Phase 5 and some other announcements and stuff. So yeah, it's exciting because, again, we've kind of, last 2 years, we've had Disney Expos, as you say, fandoms and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of exciting to see what will come out of San Diego Comic-Con this year. I'm excited to see Black Adam. I saw the trailer when we saw Thor: Love and Thunder, and it just it still boggles my mind that Pierce Brosnan is in this. I'm going to talk about it every time, but yeah.
I was going to say that to you now. I'm making a bold prediction here on the show right now. Dr. Fate's going to turn out to be the villain in this. I'm serious. Yeah. From the trailer alone, I was like, they've set up Pierce Brosnan to be one of those like Ra's al Ghul mentor turned bad guy situations.
It was me all along.
Basically, I can see that completely happening. It was me all along, Adam. Textbook Pierce Brosnan. Yeah.
The architect.
That's what me and Rinsler do when we meet now. We talk about, because one of our favourite things is GoldenEye, the James Bond movie. And there's the part, if he listens to this, he'll hate me for saying it on air, but there's a part at the beginning of it. They talk about it on the Weekly Planet as well. The other podcast that's out there. It's very good. And they say, Pierce Brosnan says, buy me a pint, in the weirdest way that I've ever heard anyone say it. So there's a scene at the beginning where like they've infiltrated this like, for those of you who haven't seen Goldeneye, they've infiltrated this like Russian base and they're trying to destroy it. And they've been discovered, and the troops are like coming down on them. They're going to break into the place anytime now. And instead of saying what they would normally say, because they're very British gentlemen, 006 and 007, 006 says, closing time, James, last call. And then I swear Pierce Brosnan just goes, buy me a pint.
Oh, wow.
It's the weirdest thing ever. Go back and watch it, guys. Credit to the Weekly Planet for pointing it out, because once you see it, you'll never unsee it again. And it's one of the most incredible things ever. Buy me a pint. So yes, that's one of the things we do. I don't know why that came into my head. I was just thinking of Pierce Brosnan, basically, but there you go. Well, okay, so you're excited for San Diego Comic-Con and Black Adam. That's good. Somebody else who's really excited for San Diego Comic-Con is Ezra Miller. He can't get enough, can he, Zane? He cannot get enough. And I'll tell you what else I can't get enough of, talking about him every week on this show now. So, in reports for Variety, apparently Warner Brothers has been mulling with the idea of canning The Flash from its theatrical run.
Wow.
And putting it straight to HBO Max, yes. Apparently that is not going to happen.
Okay.
A quote from the trade states that Warner Brothers intends to keep The Flash in its current 2023 release. It's unclear whether Miller will continue to perform as the Scarlet Speedster in future projects, but Warner Brothers is still committed to releasing its $200 million budgeted tentpole The Flash in theaters in June. So this echoes a previous Variety report that stated Warner Brothers wanted to move forward with the Pix theatrical run. Throughout the past year, online spectators have proposed either putting the Flash on HBO Max or having a new actor take over the role, similar to what was done with Kevin Spacey for 2017's All the Money in the World and Chris D'Elia for Netflix's Army of the Dead. These don't appear to be valid options for Warner Brothers, however. Variety reiterated the Barry Allen standalone adventure was very expensive, which makes putting it on HBO Max, cancelling its release, or even going back into production with another star in unfeasible scenarios. The latter is reportedly due to the fact that Miller is in virtually every scene, apparently, in this movie.
Yeah.
It's worth noting that the trade reported in June 2022 that The Flash had been extraordinarily well received by test audiences, which could be theoretically an added motivating factor for Warner Brothers to keep the project on the big screen. As far as Miller is concerned, Miller hopes to talk about the accusations against him in the future, but they're taking time to themselves to focus on their health and healing over the coming months.
Mm-hmm.
He's apparently allegedly acknowledged, well, not allegedly, he's acknowledged said allegations against him in a series of Instagram posts and yada, yada, yada. But anyway, regardless of all that, The Flash, it looks like, is coming to cinema. It is going to be getting a big budget release to match its big budget production. Thoughts on that, Zane? Are you actually happy to see The Flash come to the screen? And what's your reaction to the idea that Miller looks like he's in every single scene?
So I heard like a really great sort of argument about this, which was I think it was Absolutely Comics who mentioned this, so shout out to them. But they said, have you ever heard the story about Back to the Future, the first one, where they had to replace one of the main actors and they reshot everything, but they kept some of the original footage because it's just back shots?
Well, they didn't. Well, yeah, it's slightly different with Back to the Future. They didn't get that far into production. They apparently, with Back to the Future, they wanted Michael J. Fox from the get-go, but they couldn't get him due to scheduling because he was doing a TV show at the time. And then they got Eric Stoll, I think was the guy who they got in. and they filmed the first couple of scenes with him. So there's like they filmed like the first quarter of the movie with him, but they didn't get that far into the whole thing. And then it was determined, this isn't working. Like, this isn't going to be good. We need to get Michael J. Fox in. And it's one of those like classic things of like, what would have happened if Eric Stoll had continued as Marty McFly? You know, and I mean, we won't have to know because the right person eventually did it in the end. But every scene, Zane, he's in every, like, Ezra Miller's in every scene. I'm gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah, well, it deals with the whole concept of like variants as well, doesn't it? Because it's supposed to be variants of Barry in this and such. Yeah. The other thing that crossed my mind is like, would they just do a 5-minute like scene at the end of the credits where they replace the actor, like, you know, kind of Zack Snyder styley, where he filmed it like in front of his garage?
Yeah, it could
just
be.
a couple of green screens.
Or they'll just do that thing where they do it in The Simpsons, where where it's like Homer's playing Poochie in the Itchy and Scratchy show, and then he doesn't play ball, and so they write him out by going, "I must go now. My planet needs me," and then they just like they animate wipe him out of the scene, and then just cut to a shot that goes, "Poochie died on his way back to his home planet. Poochie's dead." That's what they'll do. They go, "The Flash is dead." All the kids will cry. Anyway, yeah. Well, I mean, I will see it, but I'll see it for Keaton. I'm not seeing it for Miller. I'm seeing it for Keaton because I love him.
And Ben Affleck.
Moving on. So that was all the DC news for this week. We've got one bit of miscues, which I thought was quite funny, and it's quite a nice little way to round off our Stranger Things wrap up from last week. David Harbour. We all love David Harbour here at Undisputed Nerds. I'm speaking for Zane here. I'm assuming he loves David Harbour. Well, David Harbour was in one of my, most underrated and actually really enjoyable movies of the last 10 years, which was the Hellboy movie. He was in the remake of the Hellboy movie. Mm-hmm. And during a recent interview with GQ, Harbour was asked to reflect on the project and admitted that it was an uphill battle from the start. Now, I'm going to read out this string of quotes from him, but it'll culminate with something quite funny that you'll like. Mm-hmm. So this is from Harbour himself. It was a very difficult experience because I wanted a lot out of it. I really like Mike Mignola, the Hellboy creator, and I like that character. And then immediately when it began, even when it was announced, I realized that people did not want that character reinvented. I was very naive and optimistic about what we were going to do. This is him addressing the fact that there was a fair bit of backlash that Del Toro and Perlman weren't reuniting for the third Hellboy movie. And at that point, it became clear to Harbour that the movie would bomb. As a result, he placed a call to Ryan Reynolds on the day it was set to arrive in theaters. And this is what he said. I know Ryan a little bit, so I called him and I was like, "Hey man, I just need to know something. You know Green Lantern? That was a huge flop for you. What the F is that like? Because I think I'm going to hit that right now. Am I going to be okay? Am I going to survive this?" He didn't divulge what Ryan Reynolds said back to him, but he says that Reynolds, for his part, was very sweet about it. Now, I brought this up because I think it's the hilarious that Ryan Reynolds has become like a therapy counselor for flops in Hollywood now. It's like, don't worry, guys, you can still save your career. Secondly, I never really got your opinion on whether you liked the David Harbour Hellboy or not, because I think it came out before we did the show. And I really enjoyed it. It wasn't like, don't get me wrong, it lost its way very much towards the end. But I thought it was really good. Like, I enjoyed it a lot, and I thought his performance as Hellboy was fantastic. But like, what were your thoughts on it, Zane, when it came out?
Yeah, very much the same. I funny enough, I watched it on a flight, and I was blown away by it. I was like, "Well, this is actually a decent little movie." Yeah. The special effects were cool. The animatronics and such that they used and things of that nature, I thought was really cool. It's just, as you say, I think it does lose its way somewhere in the plot, but
the character design, like the creature designs in that are amazing. Because when all the when Mila Jovovich, when she spawns all the hell creatures at the end, and they come out and start massacring people, like ripping people's faces off and stuff. I thought it was amazing. I was like, this is great. And like to me, the part of the film where I felt, because I've read the Hellboy books, like they are wacky and weird as hell, but they're great. And like the bit that totally captured the character for me is when he's fighting the giants. You know, when he's in the English countryside fighting the giants. That is so quintessentially Hellboy from the books. It's unbelievable. It's just a really grumpy, effed off demon who doesn't really want to do this, but he kind of has to do it because nobody else is going to do it. And it's just like a ridiculous circumstance. And like, even though he's super overpowered by all of this other stuff, he's still just doing it because that's what he's all about. And it was great. I was just like, this is fantastic. And then people didn't like it, and there's not going to be another one, and it makes me sad. It's the same with Dredd. Like, it's the same kind of feeling with Dredd, where it's like Dredd was fantastic, and the fact that they didn't do another one makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, it's I remember with Hellboy, I kind of like the idea where they did the sort of flashback to the early 90s, and he's like in grunge gear, and he's dealing with a baby who's like a changeling.
Yes.
Really fun scene.
That is so if you read the books, that is so quintessentially Hellboy. But there you go. Anyway, that's it for Tips and Bits this week. So I hope you enjoyed, guys, and keep an eye out for more.